because people then, use it differently.
Yeah.
If you talk to anyone that is in Australia, a scientist, or anyone that plays rugby, they'll tell you that over and over again, that you guys are all dumb, that you wear helmets because we police it ourselves here. But without question, rugby also has their fair share of concussions. So that's a debate that a lot of people get high blood pressure over, but I'm not so sure it's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Matt, I've got one more question for you. And I've got a tongue-in-cheek question, and then if there's anything you want to finish with, we call it Minnesota goodbyes here on this show. It's your opportunity to jump up in the soapbox, and go. It doesn't have to be. There you go. Right, exactly.
Great restaurant and so on.
So, all right. So, I mean, to sort of try and bring all this together. I mean, is playing tackle football or ice hockey or soccer or lacrosse or whatever it is are we endangering our children unreasonably from either short-term brain injury, dealing with that, which can have cumulative effects down the road, what have you, or long-term? Should we have our kids participating in higher contact sports, or are we not exposing them to an unreasonable amount of risk there?
Well, there's probably, I'll try to be evidence-based to try to say, like, well, what does the science say to support it versus like just my own opinions. I mean, I think that the short answer is there's no question that in some people are. I guess would be the answer. The question being like, are we endangering people? Yeah, some people are I believe that are endangering their children based on the evidence that's there. I think that if you look at what some of the mission statements that have come out from big, large academies, whether it be pediatrics, whether it be the changes that have been made in Pop Warner, things like that, this idea of tackling specifically in American football below a certain age, I think is becoming, it certainly has changed, and I think it's changing for the better. And so there's been some admission of guilt by organizations saying we really shouldn't be tackling, when we're 9 years old. And so there is no question that there are still many leagues that are out there. There are still many states that are out there that have tackling leagues at a very young age, and I don't necessarily think that's a great idea. I don't know about the association with those leagues or with early tackling, or with early contact exposures with the link of CTE. I don't think the evidence is there to really prove or make decisions based on that yet, but I certainly think that the suspicion or the correlation is getting harder and harder to disassociate from causation as time's going on.
Yeah.
So I know it's dodging the question a little bit, but I think that without question, some situations there are people that are doing that and that are putting our children at risk. And the risk is the question is the risk really known? We're putting them at risk. We just don't know how much that risk is. We're all taking risk every day. It's just a question of how much risk, and is it undue risk? And I think in some situations there's some undue risk that's going on. Other situations there's risk, but we just don't know how much is that risk.
All right. Well, I'm going to break my own statement. I got one more question for which is that in your field here, what is on the near horizon, or feels like is on the near horizon, from a scientific standpoint or evidentiary standpoint, causality standpoint that gets you excited?
Oh, good question. I'm more on the front line, so I'm not in like chronic research. So to me, what gets me more excited and what I think is on the horizon is two things. One is in the diagnosis. We've been more and more additive and asking of our sidelines. I cover football games on the sideline. I'm the team doctor for Hill Murray High School. Mm-hmm. And when someone has a suspected concussion, the inquiries list, the desire to go through a list of questions, testing, ocular motion, bunch of things has just gotten longer and longer to increase its sensitivity. and that's arduous and time consuming and without question human consuming. It's just dollars. Not everyone has that amount of resources to have people do this when there's 50 some people running around. So I think that biomarkers are on the verge. They're coming in the next 5-10 years. We'll maybe be able to, in an acute setting, have someone be tested and know did they have some sort of neurologic injury that would want them held out. Now, I think the ethical concern, it'll be easy when you're a minor to do that and hold people out. Big organizations will be able to do that, like the Minnesota High School League, maybe even NCAA. But when people are getting paid for that, it's going to be a very interesting ethical dilemma for people to be like, I'm sorry, but I want to play and I'm getting paid to play and I signed a risk to not do that and my union won't sue you then. So that'll be interesting to find out. So that biomarkers and diagnosis. And then I think that there's some pretty cool stuff in the treatment of acute concussion. I think that we're seeing, we're on the verge of maybe seeing some pharmacological therapy to help out with healing, in terms of neurologic injury, to try to get neurologic injury better. We have some better rehabilitation strategies with people truly having difficulty with the ocular motor pattern. So really like how your eyes move in conjunction with your brain. We can try to kind of set that when people get a concussion, they really struggle with that, and that provokes a whole bunch of symptoms. So we're getting much better at that. So those are the treatment things that I think are better. I think that rehab, early intervention of rehab has really been helpful. So getting people active and figuring out their deficits, as well as maybe some early on the field diagnosis with biomarkers.
Interesting stuff. All right. Well, Dr. Matt Hopkins, thank you so much for talking to us tonight. Really important discussion, I think, and you shed a lot of light on a lot of areas of it. So we really appreciate that. So thanks for listening to this and all the episodes of the Fan Show, which you can find at talknorth.com. We appreciate you listening to this show, and we'll be back with you again soon.